So hi, welcome everybody to this mindfulness session. It's Roz here from Present Mind. It's lovely to see you all, and also a very warm welcome to anybody who's new to these sessions. Everybody's welcome. It occurred to me this morning when I was out for my walk just how much practicing mindfulness gives us choice. And that this choice can be absolutely invaluable in that it can help to dictate almost what kind of day we're going to have. So as I was walking with Lottie this morning, my little cockapoo, it was a beautiful morning, sunny, lovely, lots of nature and blossoming flowers, and I felt very calm and peaceful. And then my son, who is currently delivering papers to various people around the village, flew past me on his push bike, which is what teenagers do. And within seconds, I had thoughts arriving in my mind, like a tirade of thoughts and images in particular, because I think in images, of the fact that he was going to get run over and he was going to be really badly hurt. This was all made up, it was all imagined. And it was just really fascinating with practicing mindfulness that this is going to continue to happen. This is all part of how the mind works. And when these thoughts and images arrived, I knew, because of the awareness of the thoughts, I knew that I had a choice. Do I want to feed those really unhelpful thoughts that were immediately creating a surge of anxiety, panic, agitation, obviously anger, so many different really unpleasant emotions? Did I want to feed that storyline, feed those thoughts? Or because I had that awareness, did I want to leave those thoughts alone? Because they're all made up. And actually feed something that is far more helpful, i.e. practicing mindfulness. So I felt so grateful that I practiced mindfulness because it allowed me to make that choice, to not feed those unhelpful thoughts, but instead to feed being in the present moment. And of course, these thoughts came back again. And this time what I did was label the thinking. I labelled them unhelpful thoughts, made up thoughts, they're not real. And actually gave them a nod and said, hi, yeah, I can see you. And that was it. I didn't need to do anything else. I just left them alone and came back into the present moment and started feeding back into practicing being present. And for me, and I was in the most helpful environment, for me, it meant feeling that morning sun on my skin, smelling that smell of dew, you know, that lovely smell that you get first thing in the morning. Watching Lottie, my dog, running after a ball, and her fur getting all wet from the grass and rolling around in it, and watching the flowers, the colour of the flowers and the blossom, and just being very, very present. And I really enjoyed my walk. And then Barney got home from his paper round and we had a chat about how it went. I know that if I'd not chosen to feed practicing mindfulness, that actually I perhaps would still feel agitated and worried now. So I guess there are two things that I'd like us to practice today, is becoming very aware of what we're feeding, and also using the technique of labelling. Labelling thoughts as they arrive can be so helpful, and it's something that I think I took a long time to appreciate just how important and helpful it can be. We can label thoughts through just very simply saying to ourselves, having a thought about planning or worrying. Or indeed, if we are more in tune with our imaginations, then many people describe when thoughts arrive in their mind, especially the unhelpful ones that we may be noticing more of at the moment, that what we can start to do is come up with metaphors or images that represent the thoughts. And people often like the one about the stream. So we imagine that our thoughts are like a stream flowing by. And we can notice those thoughts flowing by in the stream without having to get in the stream. If we find ourselves in the stream, then we're starting to engage in thinking, and we can get lost in the thoughts and get carried away. And then our job is to notice that. Get out of the stream and sit on the bank of the stream and practice mindfulness again. And just watch, be the observer of the thoughts going by. Observe and label, knowing that these thoughts are likely to arise in the mind. That is not a problem. Okay, it's not about getting rid of them or fighting against them. We're not trying to be in a fight. Okay. So what I'd like to do, the other thing that I was reminded of before we practiced was an old Native American parable that many of you might be aware of, but this just really resonated with me this morning. And I'm just going to read it here. So, an old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. "A fight is going on inside me," he said to the boy. "It's a terrible fight, and it's between two wolves. One is evil. He's anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, lies, false pride, and ego." He continued, "The other is good. He's joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, kindness, compassion, generosity. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too." The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" And the old Cherokee simply replied, "The one you feed." Okay. So we're going to practice this morning. Just notice what you're feeding and see whether you can introduce labeling thoughts as well, using labels in some way, whichever way suits you. So we're going to practice now for around 15 minutes. And I'll start and end the practice with the sound of a gong. So this is a practice of mindfulness of body and breath, and using labeling too. And so before we start the practice formally, just checking in with your posture. See if you can sit with a straight spine, so you have maybe a sense of dignity. But also looking after your body, so just making sure that you're feeling comfortable too. And closing your eyes if you want to, or just lowering your gaze, whichever's most comfortable for you. Bringing your awareness into the present moment and seeing if you can settle it. And the fact that the body's breathing. So sensing and feeling the movement of the body That gentle rise with the in-breath, and then the falling away with the out-breath. And whereabouts in the body do you notice the movement with the breathing? Maybe you can feel the tummy rising and falling, perhaps the chest. Maybe you get a sense of the whole of the torso, just gently rising and falling, including the shoulders and around the top of the back. The breath can be felt around the back too, not just in the front. Because with each in-breath, the rib cage expands, the lungs fill. Can you feel that sense of expansion with the in-breath? And perhaps that sense of letting go as the air is released with each out-breath. Perhaps you notice a narrower focus of awareness with the breath. Just sensing that very faint brush of air against the inside of the nostrils with each in-breath if you're breathing through your nose. Maybe the touch of the air on the back of the throat too. And just beginning now to regulate the breathing. This can be very helpful if we're feeling a little agitated in the mind, maybe a bit rushed. So allowing the breath to be just very slightly deeper. Not forcing it in any way. And sometimes it can help to also count or use phrases with each in-breath and each out-breath. Seeing if you can make the in-breath and out-breath a similar length. And noticing when the mind wanders, as it will. It's not a problem. There's nothing wrong. When the mind wanders back into thinking, can you become aware of what the thoughts are about and just very simply label them? Having a thought about planning, having worrying thoughts. And bring your awareness back again to noticing the movement of the body with the breath that's slightly deeper. You might notice that the mind is very busy, and that's fine too. And you notice that your awareness has become distracted and wandered back into thinking. If your mind is busy, you could just simply say, busy mind. That's okay. Return your awareness back again to the breath. Just beginning now to pay a little more attention to the out breath. Perhaps noticing that as the body releases the breath, that it also tends to soften and relax a little. Perhaps you notice the softening with each out breath in various parts of the body, maybe in the face, the jaw. Maybe you notice it in the shoulders or the tummy. Just a sense of the whole body just settling, feeling a bit more grounded, being supported and held by gravity. And allowing now for the breath to return to its natural rhythm. So just having a light, relaxed awareness of the body breathing. And sensing into the body now. Noticing the contact that the body's making with the seat of the chair. This doesn't require thinking. This is about feeling and sensing. What kind of sensations are there? A sense of pressure, maybe. Noticing how the feet feel, whatever they're contacting. And the hands resting in the lap. You may well notice that the mind will continue to wander back off into thinking. And when this happens, just seeing whether you can notice when the mind's wandered off, acknowledge the thoughts, label them in some way, whether that be just simply with words or perhaps an image. Perhaps the image of the stream flowing by. And the thoughts are just like the stream, just gently flowing by. And we can just observe that stream as we sit on the bank, sensing and feeling the body with a light awareness on the breath. So thoughts are not a problem. Just let them come into the mind and flow by, just like a stream. Notice any time when you get caught up in thinking, which we will. And perhaps that's a bit like getting into the stream and getting caught up in the flow of the water and getting carried away. And that's okay too, because with awareness, we then have the choice to just very gently, without a fuss, climb back out of the stream and sit on the bank again. Coming back to the body and the breath. So just sitting, resting, aware of thoughts flowing by and aware of the sensation of the body and the breath. Keep on coming back to sensing and feeling the body sitting in the chair and that gentle rise and fall of the body breathing. Perhaps saying to yourself, there's nothing to do, nowhere to go, there's nothing to achieve right now. And then ending the practice when you can no longer hear the sound of the bell. Thank you, everybody.